A lot of driving recently, so there's been a lot of arguments in the back of the car. It has been chaotic in the back of that car. They're just ridiculous arguments over ridiculous things.
When they get the McDonald's and they put it in a glass case or they put it in a Tupperware or they put it wherever and they leave it for a certain amount of time and basically it doesn't go mouldy.
I think they're getting to a point now where Daisy this summer just wants to play with her friends and she doesn't want Ruby anywhere near her. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to click that subscribe button so we can alert you when we release more parenting mayhem. Welcome to episode 14 of the Fun Dad, Dean and Wife Unfiltered podcast. I am Dean.
And I am Sara.
And we have started this podcast to give a true representation of parenting.
We like to give an unfiltered, realistic view of what it is like to be working parents, juggling working, parenting, and actually trying to have a life ourselves, which has been impossible over the last few weeks because the summer holidays have caused us a whole host of challenges.
So we like to start off the podcast with a little discussion of what we've been up to and what haven't we been up to. Obviously, it's been the summer holidays and it's been tough, innit?
Yeah, so obviously we've continued the summer holidays and, you know, they're approaching their end and we've had the usual challenges of entertaining the kids, the constant mess, feeding the kids, feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated, which I'm sure everyone can relate to. The battle with screen time, feeling guilty as parents, you know, like, are they having a good summer? Are we good enough? And it's just, yeah, I was really looking forward to the summer holidays and I shouldn't moan about them, but it has been challenging.
I mean, I've been actually going to bed with stress headaches like last few days and I haven't even been off. Well, because I've been working from the caravan, I've seen them throughout the day much more than I normally would, haven't I? And it's, God, I've been feeling a bit sorry for you because it has been pretty relentless.
Yeah, I think when I started the summer holidays, I was very much, if I can take them on day trips and things like that, then it's fine. But managing them now, like the cost of living crisis, everything's more expensive, like managing the days out, managing the snacks, like having no routine and the late bedtimes are creeping up and I'm already thinking, oh, how am I going to get them to sleep in September at normal time?
But to be honest with you, we still had it easier than most. We've had a caravan to have them down to
keep them.
Yeah,
you say that, but I don't know. I think this first summer, I've experienced different challenges than I have in the past. So we are lucky and I think privileged enough that we have got this amazing caravan that we go to and we have had great summers down there. Daisy's always generally had some cousins down there that she plays with and Ruby gets involved and we go on these big day trips out together as a family, like down the beach or on a nice long walk or to a pub or...
Yeah, they've been absolutely great fun, they have.
Yeah, but I enjoy those.
Family walks, they're not...
I don't mind the walks, but if you get a big group of kids together, I think it's fine. But the challenge that we faced this summer has been more apparent than ever. I've never really noticed it before, but it's the kids' age gap.
Yeah, it's been enlightening, definitely, because ours are 9 and 5, and obviously that's quite a big gap, isn't it?
So Daisy was 4.5 for context. Daisy was 4.5 when Ruby was born, and yeah, I think
I think they're getting to a point now where Daisy this summer just wants to play with her friends, and she doesn't want Ruby anywhere near her. Really, not.
But that hasn't been the case before. Before they've played in a little group, and the parents have been there. You know, like. Normally because Daisy, I've given her that little bit more freedom now. She can go and play with her friends in the field, you know, like, and she can go to her friends' caravans. And I now, because we've built up like not a family down there, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know, like a network and some friends, they go to each other's caravans and their friends and things like that. And I don't know, like it's the first summer where Daisy goes off and I'm left with Ruby, who obviously is 5, who I'm not going to be like, off you go, Ruby, go and play. And it's just, I'm constantly entertaining her. Then she's crying when Daisy goes out to play because she doesn't understand how Daisy will play with her. Because I'm quite lucky in the sense that the girls will still play Barbies. The girls will still role play. The girls will still make up dance routines, gymnastics routines and all that. But then as soon as a friend comes and knocks for Daisy, she just ditches Ruby and she's off.
Yeah, but I think that's completely normal. Completely normal,
Yeah.
especially for a gap of 4 years. I would say even if they were 2 years, that would be completely normal. Like,
Because I wonder...
does anyone want their younger sibling hanging around them all the time? It's fine when you're at home with them playing. They play quite well for about 20 minutes and it all kicks off. But they do play for a bit of time together. But as soon as a friend comes around for Daisy, she doesn't want to know Ruby. But I just think that's normal.
But I wonder if there is a good age gap to leave, because this is something that often we talk about with friends, or, you have that baby and then people will say, when are you going to try for another? And you think, well, it's none of your fucking business. Don't ask me. Like, because you never know what challenges somebody is going through when they're trying for a second or even trying for a first or a third or whatever. And I remember people said it to me when we had Daisy, and genuinely for the first 2 years, I was like, she is going to be an only child. There is absolutely no way I am going through this again with another child. And then Daisy got to about 2.5. It was after our wedding. Things had settled down a little bit. I was like back in my stride with work. We got in a routine with nursery. And I suddenly thought, actually, I could have another one. But unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. And obviously, it took another few years for us to, have Ruby. So
was it a few years? It was a year or so, wasn't it? We were trying.
2.5. I think we started trying when Daisy was 2.5, and then Ruby was born when Daisy was 4.5. So I suppose a year and a half of trying and then being pregnant. But I don't know. What is a good age gap? I don't know. So I was ready. I feel like if I could have just pressed a little button and been like, I'll pop a baby out now, it would have been good for me when Daisy was 2.5. But what is there a good, have people found their age gap good? Because obviously some people leave even bigger age gaps, and then you've got the older kids to look after the younger, not look after, but help you and support you with the younger kids. I don't know what is. Is there a good age gap?
Obviously, the closer the better chance you've got of them probably playing more together, having more in common at a certain age. But in the sense, it doesn't mean that. Like, people could have kids right close together. They can be completely different people, not get on at all, or not play with each other at all, really. Especially when they're little, they're always going to play with each other because they don't really know any different. But when they start getting to like 9, 10, 11 and start getting preferences about who they want to play with, then with our kids, Daisy's quite introverted, isn't she? Ruby has become a bit of a pain in the arse lately.
I knew you were going to say this about her.
Oh my god, she has. She's
relentless.
She literally won't, like, from the moment she wakes up, she comes straight into our bedroom. From the moment she goes to sleep, she does not stop talking or moving, or there's no peace. Even if she's watching the iPad, she'll be commenting on what she's watching. Like, sometimes you think to yourself, flipping out, like, please just have that for a bit because I can't. And then she's talking about what she's watching. You're like, no, just stop talking. So in the sense of playing with Daisy, who's quite introverted, I wouldn't say laid back. No, laid back's the wrong word, but quite, introverted. Ruby does get on her tits, really. And I can sympathise with her.
Well, because she gets on yours.
She doesn't get on. She does get on. What's the... He does a bit, yeah. Lately.
See, I just think where I'm a reception teacher and Ruby is that of reception age, she doesn't really irritate me. I find it quite endearing and quite cute. And I think I get frustrated with Daisy when I'm like, she's just 5. Like, she's just been cute because she's like into playing different songs on Alexa at the moment. And obviously they're really irritating songs like Ghostbusters. And there's another one like Sweet Little Bumblebee. Don't ever let your kid listen to that song. It is infuriating.
Ghostbusters is an absolute classic.
You love Ghostbusters. That. But anyway, she keeps putting these songs on and Daisy gets really infuriated by it when Ruby's doing her little dance routines and singing along really badly. And I'm just like, just leave it. Like, why are you letting it bother you?
Yeah, but Ruby's got this thing at the minute. She doesn't actually walk. Like, she doesn't walk with her legs. She cartwheels everywhere. And she, like, cartwheels onto the fucking sofa. And, like, sometimes I'm like, look, I need to foster this because it's quite athletic and she does gymnastics. I'll allow it. But at some point in the day, you're like, just no.
But as a parent, how much have you got to foster this, like, playing with your sibling? Because I'm very concerned at this stage that they are drifting more apart than they have been before. Is that a natural drift? Does that happen with siblings as they get older, or as one gets older, or they, like you say, they go in different directions? Or like, should I be forcing it a little bit more? Like, no, come and play with your sister for a little bit. Come and play this game, you know, because when I do force it, like the mouse trap game, Dean's been calling it mouse crap because my God, it is a piece of crap. But
Don't ever, like I've said this on my Instagram, don't ever buy that piece of shit. I'm telling you now, it was £22 of my hard-earned money, and I will never. Literally, we opened it. I was like, "What is this?" Took us like 45 minutes to put together. It was the actual game was crap. Like I don't even know what the point of the game was to get these cheeses or something. We didn't even play the game, did
no,
we?
they just want to put the ball in and let it go dong dong.
And
dong,
I
dong,
was
dong.
contemplating. I thought I can't be bothered to pack it up and send it back to Amazon. I was literally there's like a load of bins at the bottom of the caravan, so I was contemplating just taking it down there and binning it.
But they were playing it together,
Yeah,
not the game properly, but they were doing it. And I forced that, and then they ended up having a really lovely time and like, you know, building it together and knocking it down and stuff. So with a little bit of gentle force, they did play nicely together. But I'm just worried about crossing that line of forcing them together to play together. And then will Daisy end up resenting Ruby? Or like, I want them to continue to have a relationship. And Ruby gets quite confused the way Daisy picks her up and dumps her. Am I expecting too much? Although I'm a teacher and people think, you know, obviously teachers should know all this. No, I don't know about siblings at home and age gaps and how much I should be expecting of them. So
well, we talk about this a bit, and my gut is that we do expect quite a lot of Daisy. Really do. We expect her to go and play with, like, think about it. You're down the caravan with all your mates. She's got a group of like 10 of them. And then we're like, oh no, come back and play with your sister for a bit. I mean, what?
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
No, not play. Okay, we'll involve your sister a little bit. Well, they're all a bit older, much older, aren't they? And then you got this 5-year-old nutcase who doesn't stop. And then I think it's not, the age group's important, but obviously if they're quite similar people, that's important as well. Whereas Daisy's probably, if Ruby would just like play kind of quietly along with them, I think it would be more bearable for Daisy. But because Ruby's like in everyone's faces and doing cartwheels in them all the time, it's a bit like, she's like, oh no, you're cramping my style now. And I think that's what's happening.
But I think a lot of people this summer have obviously had, maybe they've got 2 children at home, maybe got 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, or however many you've got together. I don't know. Is there a good age gap? Because I've got 18 months between me and my sister. So we're moaning about the 4.5 age gap between our girls. Me and my older sister have got 18 months between each other. And sorry if you're listening, Kerry. I don't think you do listen to the podcast, but if you do.
It's not very supportive.
I don't know. Do you listen, Kerry? You'll soon find out. But she was a complete bitch to me. I remember starting secondary school, and I started school at this school, and I'd go up to her in the corridor, and all I'd do was like say hello to her or something, and she'd be like, "Who are you?" I don't know. And she literally pretended to the entire school that she didn't even know who I was, and she'd blank me, and she just wouldn't talk to me. And she was so nasty.
You just weren't cool enough.
She was so nasty to me. I remember once she had her friend round, and they were painting the shed, and my mum said, "Oh, go and help them paint the shed." So I went down there and I thought, oh, I'm going to help them paint the shed. She hit me around the face with a paint roller. Do you know how heavy paint rollers are? My lip just popped and went... Like, there's blood everywhere. She was horrible to me when I was growing up. And the worst time was when...
Have you ever really got over it, though? What's your relationship like now?
Yeah, no, we have got over it. But the worst time was when I remember we had these boys round. I must have been about year 7 or year 8. And then you make a group of boy mates. Because I went to an all-girls school. So we made friends with these boys from an all-boys school. And then I had them round and they came round in the garden. And I had this butterfly skirt on and it was her skirt. I'd taken it because the boys were coming round. And it had like poppers down the middle. And she saw that I had this skirt on and she marched down the garden. And I knew what she was going to do, but I thought she won't. She won't do it. Not while I've got all these boys round. You know, you just little. And she just ripped the skirt off me and I was left standing in my knickers. And I was just like absolutely mortified.
Oh, how old were the boys?
Same age. Same, like.
What year? 7, 8?
Year 7, year 8, yeah. That's mortifying when you're that age.
Oh, dear. I mean, with me and my brother, I would say... There's a 2.5 year gap between me and my brother, and we're like, how close are we?
Yeah.
But we're like probably best mates, really, really close, very similar. But even when we were growing up, I didn't want him wrapped around me all the time. I remember when I had friends around, I'd be like, who's this little prick with me?
Oh.
You
Poor Poor Luke.
You did feel like that about your younger sibling. So in the sense of our kids, I think we just need to remember what it's like having a younger sister. I think that's important. I think
Yeah.
we can go well hard on Daisy with stuff like that, with like pressuring her to, you know,
Be Ruby's bestie.
yeah,
You
definitely,
can't force it, can you?
definitely. And I think the more you force it, like me and my brother were close, and we had loads of massive
Didn't you used to
fight.
call him Red Luke?
No, he went red. He used to go
Oh.
red, like proper lose his temper.
Oh.
Like he whacked me around the back of the thing of a snooker cue. 'Cause I was beating him as usual, and then he threw a snooker ball at me, and it hit my dad's fish tank, and all the tropical fish were on the floor.
Oh, it smashed.
Yeah, there's like 1,000 pounds of tropical fish just suffocating on the carpet. I was like, fucking hell. So Dad came back and he was extra happy about that. But we used to have, we got on so well, but still had massive.
But you wouldn't do that with
fallouts.
anyone else in normal society, like your mates.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, the way sometimes Daisy will speak to Ruby, which we think's quite snappy and not very impatient, we think she might take that into school with her friends, but she's not.
No, well, no, not that they've told us.
No.
But I wonder if, I don't know, is there any research out there maybe that will recommend the age gap that you should leave between children? Who knows?
People have often asked me on Instagram, what's it like having kids like 4.5 years apart? But I haven't really got an answer because I don't live in another world where I've got
anything to compare it to.
No, nothing to compare it to. Like I don't have any evidence that if they'd been closer together, that it would have been better. Would it? How have you got any evidence? Only by looking at other people's families, but they might just have kids that like each other more. Might they?
That sibling sibling rivalry.
And also, I feel like Daisy's got a bit of a bee in a bonnet because she feels like Ruby is sometimes lightly told. What's the word? Lightly, not told off enough. Because sometimes we can be quiet. Because Ruby's younger, her behavior, we expect more from Daisy's behaviour. So when they're having
I expect more of an almost 10-year-old than I do of a 5-year-old.
But so if it's like we've had a few car journeys recently, we've been backwards and forwards from Wales. We had to drive 2 hours to Ilford yesterday for something, and then all the way back. So we've been driving we'll work out 14 hours in the last few days. So they've been in the car a lot.
I have been driving.
Right. So Sara does all the driving because she won't be a passenger in the car. And I used to do a lot of the driving, and because in the passenger of the car she was so bad and so anxious and so this, that if I was 100 metres behind the car in front, you brake,
stop!
And then I could feel your energy holding the car, and we used to get into massive rows and be like, I can't. And the thing is, when you've got a passenger who's that nervous with you, it makes you over control. So I'm looking down at the pedals like, fucking hell, am I supposed to be doing that? Am I supposed to be doing this? So anyway, so Sara does all the driving. But getting back to where I was, a lot of driving recently. So there's been a lot of arguments in the back of the car. It has been chaotic in the back of that car. They're just ridiculous arguments over ridiculous things. And we tend to... Like yesterday, for instance, Ruby was instigating pretty much most of it. Daisy was minding her own business, and Ruby was because she's very energetic and she can't sit down for long periods of time without, can she? So she was instigating arguments. And then when it all kicked off, we were kind of blaming both. And I felt like Daisy was thinking, no, this is not, I'm getting unfairly treated here. And that's when she was lashing back out.
Thank you for that over-analysis of the car journeys.
Do you not think?
I don't know. I think that the car journeys, obviously, we wouldn't let them have tablets the whole way. And I don't know. I think it's a skill. I think they need to learn to get on in the back of the car. At the end of the day, I used to go to Wales when I was a child, and I'd be in the back of that car for 4 or 5 hours very regularly. And my mum had 4 kids, and we sucked it up and just had to get on with it and look out the window and count number plates.
I love how we always say this to our kids. We always say, I'm bored. And I always say, look out the window, as if when we were kids, we just looked out the windows for 4 hours on the way to Wales like this. and just stared at leaves and never caused any trouble in the back of the car and never had any arguments with our brothers. We just forget. We just forget how probably we done the same. And I had a Game Boy. It's not like we didn't have iPads. I had a Game Boy the whole time. I played Tetris for like hours and hours and hours.
Right, we've had a nice little wine break there. Thank you for that. So we're actually filming on a Friday night. So Friday night is wine night. So we've had a little wine whilst filming the podcast. And brings us to our next segment.
Wanker of the week.
Wanker of the week. So each week, Dean and I like to add this little feature. Sometimes about somebody we've encountered in our life that week. Sometimes about somebody we've encountered via social media, because lots of people can be trolls, and we call the feature Wanker of the Week. Now today, Dean, do you know anything about our Wanker of the Week?
No idea. On our note, she's written something quite vague, and I WhatsApped her earlier saying, I don't understand the concept, and she's like, you don't have to understand the concept, so I'm wondering what it is. And I think it's going to annoy me, because the notes have already annoyed me, so I feel like I know where it's going, but not fully. So go on, you crack on.
So our Wanker of the Week this week is you, Dean!
Yeah.
You are my Wanker of the Week. And let me explain why.
I know what you're going to say.
Go on then, predict.
It's my comments on the last reel that I post on our podcast page.
Oh, no, I haven't seen those, but I will get on that.
Oh dear.
Oh, interesting.
I was being a proper I was retaliating to a lot of comments and being I even woke up in the morning thinking, why did I do that?
I haven't seen
Well,
this.
just too
Have you been a keyboard warrior?
Not really. They were debates, but they were probably debates I didn't really need to get into.
Oh, well, let me just tell you, I've just got to change my notes here because my Wanker of the Week is you. And let me tell you exactly why you are my Wanker of the Week. And you're going to have to bear with me, right? But my Wanker of the Week is you because a few episodes back, we did a podcast on mental load. Do you remember? And
how could I forget?
I actually felt like that podcast, though, was quite a little bit of a therapy session for us. And Dean, after the podcast, there was a lot of reflection, wasn't there? It was actually a really good, I thought, a very good debate that we had about mental load with our relationship, and it was a really interesting podcast. Anyway, Dean did take some pointers after that podcast, but my God, what a Wanker of the Week. So I'm going to talk about Wales just for a moment. So basically, it's because I'm jealous of him. He's just a wanker in my eyes because I'm jealous. Because I have had this stress. Stop reading my notes. He's leaning over the table and reading my notes.
You're not going to reel off all that again?
No, I'm not going to reel off anything. But listen to this, right? So, and I'm sure there are people out there that can, and it might not always be the woman. I'm sure there are men that are more organised. Dean literally looks like a broken man. He looks a bit worried because he normally knows in the podcast what we're going to talk about. But we packed for Wales, right? We're getting ready to go. So we're back and forth going to this caravan, right? And I am finishing work because I also work. So work, we both have a mental load of, right?
She's part-time. She's part-time.
God, he's a dick, isn't he? Still really hard.
I work full-time. Full-time, part-time. Let's just get that in.
See, this is why he's the wanker. Anyway, we're not going to have an argument, I promise. Deep breaths. Just have a sip of wine. Right, so we go to Wales and I'm thinking of the kids. I'm thinking of me. I'm thinking of everyone. I'm thinking clothes, shoes, coats, hairbands, pillows, comforters, water bottles, toothbrushes. Have I got the food shop? Are the tablets charged? Is there petrol in the car? Is the house ready? Are the bins clean? Is everything empty? Are the clothes clean? Or is everything washed? Has everyone got everything they needed? Is the fridge clean? Is it emptied? Everything I had to think of to go on this bloody holiday, right? And I was so stressed, but I actually got a giant fucking cold sore. I was that stressed. I was covered in spots. I never get spots. And it literally caused me stress. And we were supposed to be going on holiday, right? Dean just had to pack for himself once again. And we get to Wales and we're on the way and he goes, oh shit, I forgot my phone charger. And then we get to Wales and he unpacks his suitcase and he's like, oh, I don't have any boxes and socks. Oh, I've only brought one hoodie. I was just like, you fucking wanker. So that is why you're wanker of the
Okay,
week.
so to be honest, I didn't have any boxers and socks because I didn't have enough washed. So I
Not
couldn't.
true. Not true.
No, I didn't.
I did all the washing, so I don't know what you're doing to them. Eating them. I don't know where your box. I've done them all. It's all done. We're having a domestic live in the podcast.
I am an awful packer. I got to be honest. I
Mm.
just, yeah, I don't know. It's too much organisation for me. I just try and whack everything in the last minute, and sometimes it works out fine. Sometimes it doesn't. The
So
fun.
I'm happy to pack for you, but the problem is sometimes you say to me like, "Oh, you can't pack for me. I'm not a child.
Oh no,
I'll
I
do
don't
it
want you to pack
myself."
for me. I'd rather turn up with like half my clothes than you pack for me. You, you got done. I'm always like, when you look in your wardrobe, you're like, I've got nothing to wear, but it's full up. But
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean just because it's full up with clothes doesn't mean you've got something to wear. It just means everything in there is shit, and you don't want to wear it anymore. And
You got a really good t-shirt on today.
yeah. So I've got lovely. I used to play golf on my. Yeah.
Available in all good birdie banter stores.
So where was I?
Talking about packing.
God, where was I?
You were defending yourself. I feel like I've put you on the spot today by giving you wanker of the week status, but it was going to come up one day.
No, I don't, I'm happy with it. I mean, I know my faults. I've got plenty of real good
Pros? Lots of pros. You
Lot-
have got loads of pros.
lots of pros, but packing stuff like that isn't good. And
No.
I've even lost my wallet this week, which is
I
an
know.
absolute shocker.
What a plonker.
It's an absolute shocker. You know, the biggest worry for me. Oh no, I won't talk about that. But it's just losing your wallet.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
Really annoying.
It might turn up though. You never know. Because I feel like if I found somebody's wallet, I would post it. Because do you remember that happened to me? I lost a. The girls out there will understand what this means, and some of the blokes you probably won't. But I lost a Mulberry bag back in when we was first together. Do you remember? Drunk out of a cab, so embarrassing.
Fresh from Egypt.
And it wasn't actually. It was from the Bental Centre in Kingston. It was very expensive. I wouldn't buy that kind of shit now. But anyway, had this Mulberry bag and I dropped it out of a cab. And do you remember the lady was walking her dog, found it, wrote me a letter and posted it back to me?
Yeah.
Nice lady.
Imagine some like.
Hopefully your wallet will get posted back to you.
I reckon it's still in the house.
Oh.
Our house is such a mess. We haven't even been in it.
Back and forth, back and forth.
We've literally come back for a day. They've tornadoed it, and then
Yeah.
we've got to go back tonight and like repair it. And then because when you've been away for a while, coming back's really bad anyway, and it like depressed. I'll go home, shit life, all this stuff you go over your head. And then you walk into your house, you're like, it's trashed. No, I can't do it. Have to get it semi-tidy.
Yeah, get cleaner. Right, but
Well, thanks for that.
sorry.
I'll include Wanker of the Week. I'll include you at some point.
Do you think I'm going to be wanker of the week at one point?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I'll have to prepare the podcast that week.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll just know now. You'll have to fake one and then just bang it on me that week.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Gonna go in hard.
I'm going back to our topic of the summer holidays. Has come a lot of cooking and snacks over the summer. I especially feel like in the caravan, the dinners are just generally more rushed and they're more limited. Like there's no shop on the site, is there? And the nearest supermarket is a like 20, 30-minute drive away. But I would say even after this summer holidays, I even have a smidgen of mum guilt about like what I've been feeding the kids. I've literally overthought it to that point.
I think in general, parents, because of social media, are overthinking more about what they're feeding their kids. Definitely. I think because of social media, people sensationalise stuff on there so much, and like you can't feed them this or like kill them and all this kind of stuff. Parents watch that and they feel more guilty than our parents would for like we said this before on the podcast. Like I'm not saying this is right, but like my mum and dad just fed me normal stuff. They knew fruit and veg were good. They tried to feed us that. Obviously, I love fruit, and I ate a lot of fruit growing up, and not much veg. I don't really like veg now. I just force it down me. But they done that without the guilt. Whereas parents now,
I think it's that guilt of sometimes the odd time, especially if we're driving in the car and we do have really long journeys, that I think, oh, I'll just pop in McDonald's and give them that. Because Daisy actually pretty likes McDonald's. I know Ruby doesn't eat it, but Daisy loves it. And then I saw this video, I suppose. And I've seen this pop up quite a lot over the last few years. I don't know if anyone else has, but it's when they get the McDonald's and they put it in a glass case, or they put it in a Tupperware, or they put it wherever, and they leave it for a certain amount of time, and basically it doesn't go mouldy. And they're saying, all these big comments and arguments for like, what is it? It doesn't even go mouldy.
No one on the planet of ever living has taken their kids to McDonald's and thought it was healthy. We all know, everybody knows it's shit for you. Everyone. Nobody is taking their kids thinking this is a healthy meal.
No.
Are they?
Yeah.
These chicken nuggets, they're like 100% chicken. Like they're not thinking that. Everyone knows that.
But it's like you see these videos, like for somebody like you, I think you've got the kind of mind where you flick through and you can see it and, I don't know, go in your brain and then go out your brain. You don't give it a second thought. But I've been seeing them like the McDonald's one, and then there's another Pringles one.
I don't think it's that. I feel like I remember I was massively heavy into diet and fitness in all of my 20s, and I pretty much learned everything there is to know about that stuff. So I know when someone's sensationalising something and when someone isn't. And
but even Pringles now, like I've seen one video about Pringles saying that they're not crisps, and they're like basically just full of shit.
But again,
I'm thinking when I go to the shop, can't buy them Pringles, don't go to McDonald's, like I don't know. And then
but no one's buying Pringles thinking, well, this is a healthy snack.
No, well, I know, but even as a crisp, like you think buy a crisp. Now I'm thinking in my head, I can't buy Pringles because they're full of shit. But then I went round a friend's house.
Oh, hang on, what's it so much better?
Yeah, I went round a friend's house and there was a mum there, and she was using this app basically where you can scan the barcode of like the food or the product or whatever it is that you've got, and you can scan it, and it will basically tell you how toxic it is. So I was spraying the girls because it was obviously a hot, sunny day. So I was spraying the girls with this Factor 50 branded like aerosol spray, like sun cream spray that you can use. And she was like, I can scan that and whatever. And it had like a 0 out of 10 rating, and it was basically saying that it was toxic for my children. So then
0 out of 10? Like,
yeah, so then
how can it be 0 out of 10? 0 out of 10 would be melting their arm off, surely.
No, but like zero, and I don't know, as in the I suppose the ingredients that have gone into making that product. So now I'm left there overthinking even putting sun cream on my children. But obviously I'm not going to stand there and let them burn either. I don't know, I just feel like I'm not the kind of person that can just see this stuff and then it go back out of my head. You know, like when you see the people on social media and they've got the Coke, like the Diet Coke or the Coke or whatever, and they put a penny in it and they go, if it can de-rust this penny, what's it doing to your insides? And then I'm thinking about that every time I'm drinking a bloody Coke. Is it just me? Am I the only person that does this?
I think there's a big problem on social media now with people. Look, boring, helpful advice, good advice doesn't work on social media. You want like sensational headlines that's going to grab your attention. So when someone makes a video saying broccoli's going to kill you, and I have seen that, I have seen headlines saying
broccoli.
Yeah, I have. Because of the pesticides and that bollocks they say. But anyway, broccoli's going to kill you. So people are like, what the bloody hell? Like, that's like a, weird headline. So that will get millions of views, right? And then these people will post this stuff and then they link through back to their social media selling you some waffle. And they say they're like an expert when they're not. There's loads of that going on about. And some of these people have like tribe followings because people think that everyone's out to get them. Like the food that the government are making, it's got to have something in it. It's going to kill us. So they think that these people are like helping them in some way, and they get tribe followings, and then so much that on social media.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm in the tribe following category, but it definitely makes me think and reflect. Like I've seen so much now, and even not just social media, in articles, in magazines, in anything, you see stuff. Even like you say about the broccoli, but even the fruit, when they say about what it's sprayed with and the pesticides, or it's got this or it's got that on it, I'm thinking, do I need to buy organic? Like, what should I do? But then it's obviously the financial aspect of it is, well, do you know what? I've got limitations here. I'm only going to feed my kids what I can feed them.
I've seen certain bodybuilders tell you can't eat too much, like can't eat fruit, certain fruits. I mean, that is just like the most ridiculous advice.
That's what I mean. There's just so much advice out there now. You're going into the shop and you're walking down the aisle and you're picking stuff up and you're thinking, oh, no, shouldn't get that because that person said I can't have that. And then you walk down another aisle and you're thinking, oh, no, don't feed the kids that. And you're like, I have enough on my plate already. without overthinking every single thing that goes in my child's mouth.
I've looked at some pages and literally I've come to the conclusion all you can eat is ice cubes.
Oh.
That's pretty, and not actually not all ice cubes from a tap because the water's polluted. So it has to be like a certain type of water from a lake, certain type of lake, frozen, and you can eat them. That's pretty much all you're allowed to eat on some of these pages. It is mental and ridiculous.
I think as well, it's if we're seeing that as adults now and we've grown up knowing that, you know, a little bit of this and a little bit of that is not the end of the world. Like we all know, like you said earlier, if we eat McDonald's every single day of our lives, it's probably not going to be the best thing nutritionally for us. But it's that constantly looking and thinking and seeing this flashed in our faces all the time. We haven't grown up with it, so we know another side of it. But these children and teens, pre-teens, you know, low 20s, they're watching these videos, and it's almost a little bit brainwashy.
That is the real danger of the internet. You get into an echo chamber. So you start what you start believing, i.e., what you start watching, you get fed more of, and then you believe that everyone believes what you believe. So, like, say if I watch a video of someone saying you can't eat fruit, and I watch that for say 60 seconds, there'll be another video that pops up with a similar narrative, and you look in the comments, and there's all people that believe that thing, and then you watch that and you get fed another one, and before you know it, you get down this belief that you can't eat fruit or whatever. So the internet's so dangerous, especially for young kids, because they'll get stuck in this cycle.
It's another argument as to why I'm just terrified about Daisy. She's 9. She's constantly asking me for a phone. She's got an iPod Touch that we allow her to have. She's
actually quite aware of like not like weight, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like she might look at someone a bit heavier and go and notice that.
Yeah, she says to me all the time, "Mummy, you're fat." Cheers, Daisy. Nothing like a kid to give you a bit of honesty.
So they are. She's well aware of all that. So it's dangerous.
Yeah. Gosh, well, I'm really excited though because in a few months we've got a really interesting guest where we're going to delve into the brains and the makeup of children's brains and social media and the impact that has. That's coming up in the next few months, isn't it? So I won't really reveal all just yet, but it's a podcast that I have been dying to do since we started this process, and I'm really looking forward to it. So watch this space.
And if you do want any half decent nutrition advice or anything like that, follow James Smith, Dr. Ids, and Ben Carpenter. They are honestly, they're the ones I follow, and they actually give proper advice, not sensationalized stuff trying to sell you rubbish. So that makes, whenever I watch their stuff, it always makes me feel at ease about kind of what we're feeding our kids and stuff like that, because it's kind of obviously don't feed them shit.
Not a really drastic view. It's more of a kind
of course.
Is it an educated one? Like, I always wonder, these people that are giving this advice online, what's your credibility? What's your background? What is the science behind what you're saying about this? You know, because everyone has such strong views. Eat meat, don't eat meat. Eat fish, don't eat fish. Eat organic, don't eat organic. Like, there's just so many different views. You're kind of left thinking, gosh, well, I don't know where to go and where to think now.
Well, that's the problem with everyone thinks they're an expert on there now. Like they do a diet, get in good shape, and now that diet is the only diet that works, and that's a diet that I'm going to promote on social media because look at me, I got in this shape, and suddenly they're an expert.
I mean, I could have been a nice fitness influencer when I was in my early 20s. Come at me when you've had 2 kids, love. Then I'll listen to you.
I know you were absolutely.
Were? Oh, have you heard him? Right. Well, that wraps up episode 14. You were. I'll just have another sip of my wine and ignore that comment. You arsehole. That's why it's Wanker of the Week. But we hope you enjoyed today's discussions and found it relatable, especially of those of you navigating the chaos of the summer holidays as they come to a close.
We love hearing from you. So if you have any questions, stories, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please reach out on social media.
And thank you for joining us today. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review if you enjoyed the podcast. It helps us to reach more parents like you that are listening.
Until next time, keep it real and unfiltered. Take care, everyone.
Why did you say that like that? On that note,
bye.
Bye.